A tiny electrical ripple dictates how you actually feel. It's not just your thoughts. It is the fundamental metabolism of your cells driving consciousness itself. We usually treat feeling, joy, fear, profound insight as a software problem running on wetware. But what if experience isn't emergent from computation? What if it emerges directly from energetic fluctuations in the powerhouses inside every cell? Think of mitochondrial membrane potential like a microscopic dimmer switch controlling reality, not just cellular energy. These minute bioelectric shifts are our primary interface with awareness. This research proposes that when these potentials stabilize or wildly fluctuate across neuronal networks, we aren't observing data. We are experiencing something fundamental, a genuine shift in self. We often accept consciousness as some mysterious software running on wet hardware. But what if that mystery is fundamentally tied to energy? What if our deepest feelings and insights are actually echoes of incredibly precise metabolic events happening inside every cell? Specifically, the subtle voltage swings within mitochondria, the power plants of life. Imagine your brain not just as a computer chip, but as a massive bioelectric resonator. When these mitochondrial potentials fluctuate into specific coherence patterns, they seem to modulate excitability thresholds across entire neuronal networks, creating those moments when everything clicks. It suggests that subjective experience isn't an output. It might be the resonance itself. Imagine your consciousness isn't a program running on a computer, but rather the electricity passing through its circuits. A massive shift in how cells are generating their power, a subtle wobble in the inner membrane potential of mitochondria, is tied directly to that subjective sense of being fully present. It's like when an orchestra finds its perfect resonant chord, suddenly everything clicks into place and time seems to melt away. We're seeing that deep states, those moments of ultimate focus or insight, map onto transient patterns of metabolic resonance in the entire system. This suggests consciousness is an emergent property of cellular coherence itself, which means something nobody expected for how our energy optimization techniques might fundamentally rewrite human experience. Imagine consciousness isn't some ghost light. Imagine it is a biological resonance. It might be the rhythmic flicker of energy within our cells, specifically how mitochondria modulate their internal charge. When these cellular batteries achieve a certain coherent pattern, that's when states like deep insight or flow state occur. Think of it like a massive orchestra suddenly achieving perfect sync. That shared frequency, the subjective moment. Some researchers argue metabolic activity is only correlational to awareness, not causative. But what if those subtle shifts in electrochemical potential are literally dictating how information flows across our entire being? We need to understand the cellular language before we can bridge biology and experience. Think of your cells not just as tiny engines, but as microscopic antennae tuning into a global broadcast. We used to think consciousness was purely an output, a result delivered by neurons firing. But what if the raw material is actually metabolic resonance? The fluctuating energy state inside each mitochondrion might be generating a subtle field that isn't local in space. It suggests your physical being and some non-local information processing are tied together through these bioelectric hums. This systemic coherence, this flow you feel during deep focus or samadhi, it correlates to optimized metabolic patterns. But the real question remains, how does that specific pattern translate into subjective color, sound, feeling? The pathway from electron transport to epiphany is still missing its final link. We often think of consciousness as something purely electrical or chemical happening in our heads, right? A software running on wet hardware. But what if the fundamental currency isn't just the signal itself, but the fluctuation of energy that fuels it? Imagine water pressure versus the wave motion when it hits the shore. The potential is there to move anything, but the ripple, the specific pattern of oscillation, is where experience lives. We thought mitochondrial shifts were just efficiency markers. We were looking at a dimmer switch when they are actually acting like complex resonant nodes. This suggests that our inner life isn't merely a byproduct of metabolism, it might be its operational language entirely. We found the link not in magic, but in metabolism. Think of your cells like tiny tuning forks. When they resonate perfectly, when that mitochondrial potential is optimally balanced, you don't just feel good, you access a state where thought flows seamlessly into awareness. This coherence, this biological harmony, is an accident. It's the engine for profound insight. Start by tracking your metabolic efficiency in moments of peak focus to learn how to tune your own internal orchestra toward greater clarity and resonance. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com. This isn't just about energy output. It's about metabolic resonance. Imagine consciousness like a tuning fork. It doesn't just vibrate, its specific pattern of vibration determines what note you hear in life. When your mitochondrial inner membrane potential achieves transient global coherence, that internal rhythm aligns with deep states like flow or insight. This shift is the biological signature of non-local information processing happening within you right now. The actionable takeaway? Stop chasing abstract insights and start optimizing cellular coherence through intentional metabolic tuning. Learn how to map this bioelectric language. The full research archive is at jmthomasofficial.com.